Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl News. My name is Brian, and Trump let slips a very bad word, but what happens next is absolutely unbelievable. And there's a lot to get into in this short clip, so let's dive in.
The merit system, and now because of the major decision handed down recently by the Supreme Court, our country has again gone back to the merit system. That's what made our country great. And I want to just thank the Supreme Court because that took a great deal of courage for them to do that. And some people were surprised by it, but that's what made us great. Merit made us great. I will direct our military to begin construction of the great Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be made all in the USA, much of it right here in Arizona. You know, Ronald Reagan wanted to do it many, many years ago, but they didn't really have the technology. It's lucky that he didn't, because they didn't, but they have it now. We can knock a needle out of the sky. And as Commander-in-Chief, I will restore the proud and historic names of our great military bases like Fort Bragg. We're going to get them back. And woke has to stop, because along with everything else, it's destroying our country. We're going to stop woke. Woke is bullshit. As an example, in addition to the military bases, I understand they want to now rename 14 ships. We want to rename them. Some of these ships have had a great and glorious past. They want to take the name off and put another name down. Oh, I can imagine whose name they're going to put up. Not going to happen with me. It's not happening with me, I can promise you that. The actions I have described today are just a small preview of the common sense revolution, because that's what I call it, a common sense revolution that's coming soon to America. To a theater near you, right? But it's coming to you through your president, Donald J. Trump. The people have given us their trust, and in return, we're going to give them the best day one, the biggest first week, and the most extraordinary first 100 days of any president in American history.
I mean, he isn't wrong. Yes, we understand Trump is unusually vulgar, and we're not supposed to like that in our political discourse, but come on, he doesn't just have a point here, he's right. I had to do a little bit of digging, but here's what I found. Here's what they're actually renaming, particularly in the Navy. All right, and it's not 14 ships, it's 14 streets. It's grand total of 33 installations, a handful of ships, and what I could find was a guaranteed 14 streets. And so, a little bit of backstory, there's some things that deserve to be renamed, but here's the list, and it's not pretty. So let's start off with the first one I found. This was on the, I think this was the actual America's Navy website itself. So, let's see now. Secretary of the Navy announced to the Department of the Navy completing the renaming of 33 ships, buildings, and streets ahead of the 2024 deadline. And the whole goal of this was to rename military property that honored the Confederacy. Now, time for a little bit of a tangent here. If you look right above me, you'll see a bunch of Coca-Cola bottles. Atlanta Braves, Olympics, and stuff that's specifically Georgia related or graduation related. I am a Georgia boy born and raised. Granted, the original Georgia drink is actually Red Rock sodas, but I love to do a commercial for them in the future, but now's not the time. Now's the time for some actual good information. Now's the time to tie everything in. As a person who lived right at the edge of when the last embers of actual racism were dying in the South, I was born into this wonderful time where the KKK, gone. They did not exist. The last, I think, rally they had in the Atlanta area was in, I think, Lawrenceville in 1992. I was born in 93. Then I grew up in the shadow of Kennesaw and Stone Mountains. And even to this day, in a major black area, Stone Mountain with its Confederate depictions, no one really cares. And no one cares because no one makes a big deal out of it. And that's exactly the way you're supposed to treat it. So when it comes to monuments, battlefields, and sculptures, anyone in their right minds is going to look at that and go, yeah, so this happened. As a matter of fact, if I was a black father with a family, I lived in one of these towns with a Confederate name or a Confederate statue, I would take a picture of me and my family every year as a subtle reminder of, hey, y'all lost, y'all deserve to lose. We are the result and we are moving forward. That is the healthy mindset, and of course, woke is an unhealthy mindset. And as a Southerner who has learned the hard way that what the North did to the South. Never look up the war crimes of the North in the Shenandoah Valley campaign. Don't look up what they burned here in Georgia for no good reason. Don't look up the slaughter of innocent civilians all throughout the farming areas of northern Georgia, eastern Tennessee. It was not pretty, okay? The war between the states was an ugly affair where there was no one. No one was the good guy in that war. So I get trying to wipe out some of the stain of the Confederacy because they did not want to be a part of the United States anymore, and therefore the military should reflect that. The whole point of the military is having some unity, and having any disunity amongst the ranks is a dumb idea. So when you are replacing Confederate names in your Navy, here's what they suggest. And remember, this is a dude that's underneath Secretary Austin, and he's been around during the Biden administration. So I do not trust, what's his name? I had it brought up here. Carlos del Toro. I don't trust him to make a lot of smart decisions because if you served under the Biden administration, I've got a whole host of questions of how you got there. So let's actually look into some of the problems here. Okay. Let's see. One of the first assets renamed was Maury Hall. Okay, I had to look up this guy. As someone who loves American history, this was a fun little rabbit hole. He got called, and this was his own nickname, Pathfinder of the Seas. And this was before he served in the Confederate Navy. Before then, he was from Virginia, and I think he had some Texas ties as well. And he was a forerunner for the Navy. He wrote a very influential book, The Physical Geography of the Sea, and I think he even had some work of understanding plate tectonics. While that's kind of boring, the reason that he got named is because he was a famous American. Because he was an American before he joined the rebellion, and then after the rebellion failed, which I am very thankful for, the Confederacy succeeding would not have been a good thing for world history, but that's a rabbit hole that we don't deserve to go down. What matters is this dude's name and good works is getting erased because he did not want to fight people from his own state in a time where people cared more about what state they were from than they were, in fact, American citizens. So this is not a smart thing to do. This is an erasure of a man's history, period. This is not a smart thing to rename. Let's see, they had to rename another one of Maury Hall's names on the military academy, not the military academy, but one of the naval bases somewhere, and I'll get to that in a moment. And then Maury Hall stuff got renamed to, renamed the building to Carter Hall after President Jimmy Carter. You remember him, and as a Georgia boy, there used to be a sign in on I-75 in South Georgia that we, the farmers of South Georgia, apologize for electing Jimmy Carter. So yeah, he's not exactly the most wonderful person that everyone looks up to. Good man, great man, terrible president. The Navy could find someone better than Jimmy Carter. I mean, if you're going to name someone from Georgia, how about, I don't know, the Chick-fil-A family? How about Zaxby's? The USS Waffle House. There we go. That's a whole lot better than the USS Jimmy Carter. So a building got renamed to Carter Hall. Then there was the Buchanan House named to the Farragut House. I'm actually for that. Farragut was a naval hero. That's actually a good idea. Then there's the Maury Oceanic Library, got renamed, despite the fact that this man was a literal scholar. Then there was the Ticonderoga-class cruiser, the USS Chancellorsville, awesome ship. It's getting renamed because it was the site of a Confederate victory. Oh, give me a break. Chancellorsville was also right next door to the 1864 Battle of the Wilderness because there was no real difference in the places. The difference is this time it was a Union victory, so you could at least rename it to the Union victory, right? Wrong. This is what they renamed it to. They renamed it to the Robert Smalls. Now, granted, Robert Smalls was a skilled sailor. But do you want the USS Smalls to be calling out on radio without the enemy laughing at us? Yeah, it's just a dumb idea. So this woke nonsense that's originally rooted in some truth is ultimately, as Trump called it out, and correctly so, BS. That's what this is. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on PolitiBrawl News. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.